Hello, my name is Lamar Carey, and I chose to do my project on foreigners in their own land. So, some background information was that Spain owned Western America before Mexico gained its independence in 1821, and then obviously Mexico took the land after. And they stopped funding the missions in this area, and they just started doing their own thing, so like building ranches and just living their own life. And then the Mexicans in this land started to kind of rebel against the Mexican government and started to call themselves different names like Tejanos, which were in Texas, Mexican uh, Mexican people in Texas, and then Californios, which were Mexican people in California. And then eventually America ended up taking the land from them, and they almost doubled in size by doing this. And they did this by uh, the Mexican government. They were letting Americans into Texas, and then after a while, the Americans and the Tejanos rebelled against the Mexican government, and uh, they became known as the Republic of Texas with their leader Juan Seguin. And then eventually, the Americans then rebelled against the Tejanos and Juan Seguin, and they just kicked them out of Texas, basically, and then they owned Texas, the Americans. And then in California, the situation was very similar. Californians also traveled to not Californians, my bad. Americans also traveled to California, and they made the California's leader. His name was General Vallejo. Signed papers to annex California. They threatened him basically, and then they imprisoned him after that. And after doing that, President James Polk. Oh yeah, that became known as the Bear Flag Revolt. And then after doing that, President James Polk in 1846 started a war with Mexico, and uh, America won this war, and they gained lands that are now California, Nevada, Utah, New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, and some parts of Oklahoma, Kansas, and Wyoming. And then the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was signed, and that was supposed to give Mexicans in these territories land and citizenship of America. But when the Gold Rush started, Mexicans in California, they were discriminated against, and killed by Americans, and that basically meant the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was just basically ignored. And they also Americans also started taking the Mexicans' lands. So how does this affect the world today? Um, these events changed the world of Mexicans and Americans today. You never would have known what would happen if Americans didn't take the land of Mexico. Since we live in California, we might have been like not in America. This might have been Texas still. I mean, not Texas, Mexico still. And Mexico would have also been a lot stronger since they would have had more land. And the importance of this topic is that many people don't know that this happened. Um, and so it's important to share it so it'll never be forgotten. And it's also important to just remember how Mexicans were discriminated against so we won't do it again. And it also helps us understand our mistakes so we don't make these same mistakes again. And these are my works cited.